Charles, last couple things with you. We'll get to the Titans in a moment, but I want to quickly get your thoughts on how the Saints will use Alvin Kamara during Mark Ingram's suspension.
They'll use him similar to how they did before Vince and maybe expand it a little bit. But Sean Payton will play the long game with him too. All right? Remember, it's a 4-game suspension. So they will find ways to have other people take some of the pressure off of Alvin because he is at his best when he's able to run to the perimeter. Not that he can't run inside. He can. But you don't want a steady diet of that with him. Sean's far too savvy for that, and he's going to want him for all 16, not for just the first 4.
And, Charles, you and another Tennessee guy, and Dan Hellie, are doing the Titans preseason TV games. Want to get your thoughts on Titans' expectations this season and anything you're looking for in that first preseason game of the Packers.
Well, look, this is a team that went to the playoffs last year and won a playoff game in a place you're not supposed to. Went to Kansas City and came from, 21-3 down to win it. I mean, that was a big deal. You would have thought that would be enough for Mike Mularkey to keep his job. But he didn't. They lose to New England, and a 9-7 team in the playoffs, the head coach is gone. Well, I think a lot of it is very simply wrapped up in number 8, Marcus Mariota. Going into his 4th season, guys, he has to ascend. He has to become a better player. He has the potential to do that, but the sense I get from the Tennessee organization is they felt like he was regressing, not ascending.
Hey, this is what I got to go with right now. 70% of this roster, Brian, was signed by Butch Jones among the scholarship players. So he's got to be able to change a lot of those guys. I don't know that it was drastic. He would criticize them a little bit. He wouldn't badmouth them a ton, but he is taking a more glass half full, encouraging them, try to build their confidence and see what they can roll. But eventually players will get in there, I think. Welcome back into Tennessee Sports Night with Eric Kane. I am Vince Ferrara. Great to have you with us. Tennessee men's basketball with a win 83-70 at Thompson-Boling Arena over Samford last night. Jordan Pone, goodness, double-double, 24 points, 11 assists. Let's lightning round hit you with a couple of guys that Tennessee still is looking to get in terms of getting right. Is Jimbo Fisher in his second year at A&M. You knew he was going to recruit. He is doing it at a high level. They've got a couple of 5 stars, a lot on the lines of scrimmage, which is something that they definitely need. Another one is Oregon with Kayvon Thibodeau, the number 1 overall player, and number 2, depending on your service. Oregon signed 9 players in their front 7. So they're addressing the defense and be a different look for them. 1, he's not going to be able to do it. 2, kind of a bad sign that he showed up that out of shape and not doing his own thing. I know he was out of the strength and conditioning program, but you got to do your own work. You got to find something to do to show up in better shape so you can jump right in a little bit better. And that's what you want, is to coach football. And look, Tennessee in these types of games, they have not put teams away early enough in the past.
Yeah.
They've messed around late in the Butch Jones era. They messed around with teams they should be putting away, whether it's App State or anybody else, Southern Miss or anybody else. So what happens? These games early in the year, you mess around, you can't play young players. I agree. And I think the game plan changed once they realized they had a tough time blocking.
Yeah.
So you didn't see them throw down the field. That's still something we got to see. Has Garantano improved in his accuracy throwing down the field? Now, I think he looked really good in his fundamentals, his base, his mechanics, all those kind of things. So I think he'll be fine there, but they just got to be able to protect now. Without Brandon Kennedy, now you're moving Ryan Johnson to center. Who's your right guard? Is it Lockley or Carvin? So I think there's still things that they need to accomplish. Oh, by the way, find young players that might be able to contribute right now, because as you mentioned with the D-line before, practice isn't enough. You got to see game situations.
What was your biggest takeaway from week 2 in college football?
You know, the fact that through 2 weeks and 3 for some, there's so many elite programs playing multiple quarterbacks. I don't think we've ever seen this before.
Yeah.
I mean, you started out with Alabama. We know who the starting quarterback is there, but they're still playing Jalen Hurts, even in games that seemingly don't matter. And then also you have Clemson with Lawrence and Bryant and Ohio State. I don't think we've ever seen this before. This is uncharted territory. These elite programs, if they handle it well, maybe this will open up other programs to do it. If not, it's going to scare away some of the coaches if it comes back to haunt them.
Which NFL team impressed you the most?
You know, there's a couple, obviously, that were surprising. But in terms of impressed, I'll say Kansas City. That's a good Chargers team that many, including myself, picked to win that division. And you're winning on the road. Granted, the Chargers don't have a home field advantage because they play in the soccer stadium. For them to win and have Patrick Mahomes play as well as he did with 4 TDs and no picks, and then Tyreek Hill looking as explosive as he does, it makes it seem like maybe Kansas City did know what they're doing. They also didn't have Eric Berry in the opener. We'll see if he plays this weekend. But I was very impressed by that win at the Chargers.
We're going to go head-to-head with our picks, Vince.
Okay.
We'll start out with LSU at Auburn. Auburn, a 10-point favorite in that game.
I'll lay those points. I'm going Auburn. I think their front seven is dynamic, one of the best in the country. Saw what they did against Washington. I think they're going to be too tough for LSU. LSU really good on defense, but too much Auburn. I'm going to go with Auburn. You know, this actually one I thought about going both ways because Ole Miss can score like crazy. And Alabama, if they do have a weakness, it might be in the secondary. Love that Ole Miss offense, but man, they cannot stop anybody right now. Tua is going to dissect them. And I'm going to go Alabama. I'll lay those points. It could be home field for TCU, but it's not going to be because Ohio State will travel. Ohio State is too strong offensively. I'll give those points. Go with the favorite as well.
Yeah,